Hi everyone. Good evening. Nice to be here again. So, if you are joining us for the first time, hello. Welcome to the Legally Informed page. Here we talk about all things legal. Um, Try to break down the law in a simple, understandable, or easy to understand language, no technicalities here. So the aim is to get you to find the conversations relatable, right? All right. So if you're joining us on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button, like and share. And please drop a comment. We'd like to hear from you. If you have questions, oh yeah, feel free to use any of the comment sections and reach out, and we'll give you feedback. We'll let you know if you need specialized attention or personal attention. We'll be sure to get back to you. All right. So thank you. All right. Today I'm here to talk about something I find very germane. So, like I had mentioned in a post earlier, that I've seen that there's an anomaly in society, and that's what I'm here to address. For some reason, I don't know who sold us that impression, but for some reason, I've discovered that a whole lot of people think that the law is only in relation to emergencies. So they look at the law from the perspective of just a lawyer, right? And what do you do with a lawyer? Someone is in trouble, someone is in court, so was arrested by the police, someone is having problems with their landlord. Okay, so what do you do? Call a lawyer. A lawyer is supposed to be sorts, right? Just come fix the mess, make it all good. Now, is it bad that you understand or take into cognizance the role of a law, a mess, quote, or not at all? But the law in itself is way beyond, you know, what I like to refer to as curative measures. Law is even way beyond the presence of a lawyer, because there are so many things that we can't do as individuals, as citizens, that prepare us to not need lawyers in the sense of an emergency, but need lawyers as a guide, you know, as the first step. All right. So I'm going to do my best to break it down. So first of all, I'd like to, ask, when you think about the law, what does law mean? What do you think that the law is? And in asking that question, yeah, this is an interactive session per se, so you might need to just, think about. I'm going to say, think of the law as something abstract. And that's what I'm here to deal with. That's the mindset I'm here, to evaluate mindset, then my job here this evening is done. So the law, let me shock you, it's not abstract at all. The law is a living, breathing material. You would ask, what do I mean? You don't need to look far. In fact, the fact that, and yeah, pun intended, the fact that when there's a problem in everyday life, when people run into issues in everyday, in relationship with family, with friends, with business partners, with colleagues, and all of that, even in marriages and in employer employee contract, the fact that when people run into challenges in any of these areas, they begin to look for a lawyer, shows you just how much of a living, breathing material the law is. So that tells you that the law is meant to regulate every facet of human endeavor. All of these areas that you're looking problem, when a problem does arise, are places that the law is meant to regulate. So what we do is that we put the wheel before the car. What we do is that we wait until the problem arises, and that's not how it ought to be. So I'm going to attempt a simple definition of the law, a simple definition of the law, just to help us have this conversation. Okay. All right. So I just made some short notes here, so that okay. But to say that I recognize the fact that for a lot of people, their definition and understanding of the law will depend on their prism, their angle, their perspective, what they're dealing with at that time. So say for instance, a philosopher will look at the law from the angle of what ought society. These are the ideal things I expect in society, I expect in governance, and this is what the law should be. So that's the angle the person is looking at it from. And for a politician, for instance, the politician is looking at the law, as an instrument of policy, as a means to facilitate or compel the achievement of his legislative political goals or aims. Law, can also be seen as a means of carrying into effect the essential, you know, just as a means of, this is me just trying to, put it in as simple language as possible. But I have here that I wrote, it's so key. I feel that this is the way that everyone should look at the law. This is like, commonest definition I could give. So the law is a means or a vital mechanism for resolving disputes and promoting efficient relations, protecting the interests of all members of the society. So I think, to turn it the reverse way, I'd like to start with saying that the law is a means of protecting the interests of all members of the society and a vital mechanism for resolving disputes. Okay, so this definition takes into cognizance that, first of all, we need to have our interests protected for every sphere of human endeavor, every facet of human endeavor. And then it also takes into cognizance the fact that in the course of human endeavor, in the course of our relationship with other people, in the course of living, of life, of business, of partnerships, of any kind of relationship, disputes can and will arise. And the law serves as a vital mechanism for the resolution of such disputes. So when you're looking at the law, don't look at the law as, is this the thing? Is this no? Like, that's why I said, as far as I'm concerned, this definition just has like the two key components, which is the protection of your interest as a part of a society, whatever society you find yourself, an organization, a church, a school, an institution, a workplace, what have you. It is a means of protecting the interests of the members of that society, of that community, and a way that they can, it provides the vital tools, like the rules and regulations guiding each organization would also state how disputes can be resolved in the very likely event that those disputes do arise. All right. So now that we've gotten the basic definition out of the way, I like to say this. Um, it's important, it's very important that we look at the law from this relatable angle. I find that, the everyday person looks at the law as something that should be avoided. Like, my business, I mean, in fact, they will ask you, I will listen concern me, concern lawyer. Listen concern about my money. I'm all about my business. And this mindset, this approach to, law, the role of it thereof in our lives is instrumental. It's very key to a lot of the very avoidable issues that people have. So I want to keep this video very long because I'd rather break it into, short clips and have us follow than do a long video that people find unwieldy at the end of the day. All right. So to keep this very short, I think I'm going to wrap this up in a minute, but I just want to give a very quick example. So say, for instance, someone is getting into a business arrangement. Okay. the easiest example I can use. So now, social media, the world of technology, virtual life has opened us all up to the fact that people don't need to be to do businesses together, to trade together, to exchange goods and services, right? So um, a buying and selling arrangement or agreement with another person who they don't know, who they've never met physically, who they are not likely to meet, and then the intermediary between them is going to be made probably the mix of exchange of the value, which likely is a bank, and then the other third party is most likely going to be the um, means of delivering the goods. So, like say the what are they called? The delivery guys who buys delivery companies who use any other means or modality for delivery. Now, what happens? This person just says, "Oh, so I'm going in. I want to buy this. You have this. Okay. What does it look like? Oh, show me a picture. They show you a picture. Okay. How you paying? They send account details and you make payment. Now, what usually happens is that people don't contemplate that, for instance, the picture that you saw may not reflect what you are looking to purchase eventually when you see it in flesh and blood, like real life, not pictures, not video. They don't contemplate that there are other people who are involved in this transaction. There's now a third party, in between or the middle person, which is a delivery company, and nobody is contemplating the fact that there might go wrong in this transaction that is not dependent on just the buyer on one hand and the now what happens? People now go these two people go into this transaction, and if when, as we have seen in most cases, there is a challenge, that's when they start hampering about, oh, I need a lawyer, oh, me a lawyer, this person, this is not what we agreed on. But the simple truth is that you could have avoided all of this emergency by having what a very simple thing done. Have a contract. So on the part of the buyer, on the part of the seller rather, you should have had an already made contract template that you either amend, as is needed, of course, with the help of a lawyer, that now says, okay, this is, my role, my responsibility. This is what I'm would be. Of course, that contract is not supposed to protect your interest alone. If it's properly drafted, what would happen if the goods that you are selling to this person who has not had the privilege of seeing it, by themselves with their eyes physically, if it does not meet with what we call fit to description, or according to the description, or even fit for the purpose that the person has communicated to you that this is what I want to use this good for. None of the two parties involved has contemplated this. Even the delivery person, nobody has contemplated this, and they just go headlong. So what has happened is that you have bypassed the important role that the law is supposed to play in this transaction by looking at it as just an abstract thing. Meanwhile, there's a whole lot of bridges that could be avoided by just getting the law involved. What does the law say? When you're selling a good, selling either a goods or providing, selling a good rather, I'm correct, selling goods. Yeah, when you're selling goods or providing services to someone, there are provisions of the law regarding that, and nobody has activated that. So it means that you have left it to chance. Just about anything can happen. So this is just one example a role in your everyday life that you're taking for granted because you feel, oh, the law is, it's not for me, it's for the lawyers. I'm not in any I don't I'm not in any trouble. That's a very wrong, it's a very wrong perspective to looking at the law. So I want to encourage you today. This is just phase one. I'm going to come back and talk about more things, but I just want to put this out there and say the law is a living, breathing material. It's connected to every facet of your life. And like I said, it's there to first of all protect the interests of members of the society, and secondly, be a formidable medium for resolving disputes that may arise. I hope that this helped you and you gained some value. Please feel free to engage us and ask us your questions. To let us know in the comment section how you found this, and if you have any thing could apply. It will be nice to hear from you, really. And again, I look forward to sharing more regarding recognizing the role of the law in society. Now, have a good evening. Bye.